Hello, this is Crypto CJ. Welcome to today's trade of the day. This is the Monday night Zoom edition, and lots more FUD and fun today in the market. We got some news items pushing Bitcoin down about 5 to 8%. Of course, that has the corresponding effects on the altcoins. I've been in and out of Matic and XTZ today, and those went down like 10 to 15%. So we'll talk about those soon. Let's go to the Bitcoin chart first. So I'll share my screen. And here's the Bitcoin chart. It's a 5-minute. Let's zoom out to the day chart. And can all you guys see my chart okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right. And before I forget, stay calm and breathe. That's the message again. It seems like we catch these Monday nights after weekend shenanigans, and we had a little bit of that, but most of the drama today was this afternoon. Had to do with there was some kind of Bitcoin seizure. Yeah, criminals use money. Newsflash. I mean, I don't understand why that's such a big deal. I mean, criminals use way more dollars and other currencies than they do crypto. And using Bitcoin, if you're a criminal, isn't very bright because Bitcoin can be tracked. There's a hash rate that's published in a ledger that people can look at. So anyway, smarter criminals should use the anonymous coins like Zcash and Monero. So anyway, I don't see why that's news, but it is. And then there's a positive news item that the El Salvador, small Central American country, is accepting Bitcoin for its functions and even encouraging its citizenry to use it. So that should have been a good news that pumped the market, but not so much. So that's a little frustrating on the news side, but enough of that. Let's go to the chart. So Bitcoin is barely hanging on the bottom of the wedge I drew. And I've changed it a few times. I had this going way up here, and then I've had to drop it a few times. But
Not so much a wedge anymore.
Yeah, I think we're in a channel now, or I'm not sure what the phrasing of this is. I don't use these as much as I should. I tend to use some of these smaller pennants, but these not so much. So anyway, it's just barely hanging on. I've even got a reminder down here. Let's go to the 1 hour. Yeah, if it hits 32.6, I'm gonna sell some long positions, or no, sell my short BTC down token, and then consider buying some long positions. But I might drop this down to 30. I posted something on my Facebook page, my Crypto CJ Facebook page, where a pretty well-known trader is suggesting that we're going to, there's lots of opinions out there, but suggesting that we're going to do for, a drop down to 30 and then a pretty big pump. So we'll see. But I've got some cash on the sidelines waiting for the next significant dump, and I don't know if this is it or if it's going lower. So we'll see. But anyway, we fell out of this pennant pretty significantly, and as pennants, their function is to show us if it drops out of it to the downside, that's usually going to be a pretty low drop, and if it goes to the upside, it's a pretty big pump up. So unfortunately, we got the latter for those of us who are holding some things. But anyway, I don't know if we're due for that big drop yet. We got a pretty strong candle here on the hour trying to pump back up. So this just could be one of those drops that we get from time to time. But 6% in one day, that can cause some damage to the altcoins, and we've seen that today. So on the plus side, we've got some really nice dip trade opportunities. We'll be discussing those soon. Any questions on Bitcoin before I move on to Altcoin Alert? Okay. As I mentioned earlier, Altcoin Alert has one of my I'm reluctant to call it favorite coins, but one I have traded quite a bit in the past, Matic. at 81.2. It was higher this morning, probably got damaged. Its score got damaged by the Bitcoin drop. And unfortunately, Altcoin Alert can't necessarily predict a Bitcoin drop. So I know it's frustrating to have a high score to go ahead and do some technical analysis and get in and then have it drop, 15, 20% as a result of a Bitcoin drop. So in that situation, that's where I like to use ladder buying. Some people prefer stop losses, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with getting out and then buying at the very low if possible. But I like the ladder buy strategy. So let's look at this. This is the 5-minute chart on Matic. We've got the one dip here, second dip here, third dip here. And I got in right about here at 153. Unfortunately, it dropped. It did go up, but it didn't hit my target. It went up a little bit to about 154 and a half. I was looking to get up to this area here, which I thought was some resistance and support around 155, and it didn't quite make it, and it dropped again. I was going to ladder buy at 147, but I saw this, and I canceled that. Now I wish I'd have done it because it dropped down to about 146 and pumped up pretty well. Now it's up to 151. Now I'm not that down in that trade anymore, so I'll probably just leave it alone and see if it works its way up. If it goes into another dip sequence, I'll keep a closer eye on it and ladder buy at that time. But for now, I don't need to, so it may work out. I neglected to look at the overall picture of Matic, but I think most of us know this coin's been one that's been talked about quite a bit in some of the weekly meetings we have with CryptNation and Altcoin Alert on Tuesdays and Thursdays. This pumped way up to 270 before the crash on the 19th, then came back hard. This coin can be very volatile, which is why it's fun to trade and infuriating to trade. But so overall, we're towards I think we see some support here. And I'm optimistic it'll bounce off this and right around 150, I would say. 148, 150-ish. And hopefully that's sufficient for it to bounce and work its way back up. If it drops below 150, like I said, I'll hang out and wait for evidence of a recovery and then probably ladder buy off my first position. And on the hour, yeah, this gives us a better look at the support right at 147. And that was the basis of my ladder buy that I chickened out on. These candles here, these 4 candles right at. So this is where I like to make my ladder buys when I see support like this. So any questions on Matic before we look at some others?
Just a general question. When you purchased, did you automatically put in your sell point?
Good question. I usually do that, but not always. If something's pumping hard one direction or another, I may not do that right away. And if I know I'm going to be on my computer live trading, that's what we call when you're staring at your computer and watching the candles go up and down. Yeah. So if I'm live trading, I don't necessarily do that. But if I'm not live trading, if I'm doing some other things on the computer or I'm away from my computer, I will usually, based on support and resistance, set a sell. And I've done multiple videos. If you want to go to my Crypto CJ's Trading Odyssey YouTube channel, do search for Crypto CJ and ladder buying or trading ranges or anything like that. I talk about where I like to get out. And again, on most of my trades, I'm looking for a few percent. And now that I'm using leverage more, I'm even going lower, like 1 to 2%. 2%, I'm doing backflips if if I get that on like 10 or 20x leverage. I'm not recommending you guys do that yet. Not even sure if I should be doing it yet, but anyway, I'd say after a year or so of spot trading and having success, then that might be the time to consider it. But yeah, so I mentioned earlier, I got in, I've got another screen over here in case you guys didn't know. I got in at 1.536, right around here, and then I set my sell here, where I saw that some resistance and support at 1.55, and it didn't make it. So bummer. And we'll try to catch it. Looks like it's coming back. We'll see if it makes it. So does that answer your question, Laura?
Thank you.
All right, you're welcome. Any other questions on Matic before we move on?
Can you do a quick recap of ladder buying?
Sure. Give it best way to do it is to do an example. If you're an iCoinPro, there's actually some calculations you can do on ladder buying. I'm gonna go over it in general first before I get to that. So how I like to do it is, let's say I have that purchase at 153. Let's just yeah, mark it up. So let's say I'm in like right around here, and it goes against me like I have, and I leave my, and I see the drop, and I set, what I did was I set a low buy order for 147, and then realized, this could go lower, and I canceled it. Let's say I left that in place at 147. So I get a second buy here. So what I usually do is I set my sell order, I combine the two and set a sell order for slightly above the first entry point. So that would be my sell there. Not sure if I can write it, but looks like gel. Anyway. So what happens in this scenario is I make a slight profit on my first position, make a real good profit on my second one. So like on my one,
is
like
the
on my,
second buy of the same amount of coin?
yeah,
as
it's the same
first
amount.
buy?
I use the same amount. Some traders increase it. Like Jeremy, who taught me this, would double his and then triple it if he made a third one, which I think is crazy risky, but oh well. So in this scenario, I've got a 5% profit on my second position. Maybe, this one's probably like 0.2 or something like that. 0.4, but I've got a little bit of resistance here and here. That's why I use that figure. So then overall, the trade is a success. Even if I sold like down here, if I got 4% on this and minus 1%, that's still a successful trade. That's still a 3% net, and that's a good day trade. So that's conceptually on how we do ladder buying and day trading. You hear Bryce Paul talk about laddering in sometimes on the CryptNation lifer calls. You can do that on a longer time frame as well. You can, let's say you saw this pump on Matic and you bought like right around here at $1.76. Then it drops down here, you buy it again at 84 cents. Now your profit's somewhere in between, like right about where it is now. And maybe you see it go up again, and then it drops again, and then you ladder in again. So now you've got buys at 84 cents, at 150, and at 175. And your 175 is out of the money, but your other one's right in, and then the 84 is a considerable discount. So that's the concept. It's best to do it in a project you believe in, because if you do this in some crap coin, if you ladder buy, it could just keep going down and down and down. And if you ladder bought during this train wreck, the same thing can happen. You can get stuck for weeks and months at a time. That's happened to me more than I care to admit. So ladder buying is not a perfect strategy, but if the fundamentals are there and the coin is a quality project, That's how I like to get out of tough situations. So usually with a profit.
Thank
And do
you.
you always trade in Binance?
Almost always. I've got accounts in, I don't know, 5 or 6 other exchanges, but I mostly trade in Binance with a VPN. I also trade FTX with a VPN, and then I've more recently been trading with CoinMetro. They had a coin I wanted to trade called Quant, and Pizza Mind and the CryptNation group was talking about what a great exchange it was, and I really like it. I just wish it had more coins, but the interface is really easy to use, and so I recommend that one. I don't know if that requires a VPN or not. At this point, I always have my VPN on when I'm on my computer doing anything financial, so I'm not sure, but anyway, I like that one too. So, all right. Let's see what else we can find in Altcoin Alert. DNT I've traded before, so let's check that out.
Yeah, why were you playing XTZ? Was Tezos doing something today?
Yeah, I found that through a different source.
Okay.
So that's why I was into it. Sometimes I go to my list, my personal list on TradingView and just do a quick sort and see what's popping at the moment. But the first thing I look at is Altcoin Alert, and this is taking too long. Anyway, DNT. All right, so this one, what kind of volume does this have?
Terrible.
Yeah. I probably would not trade this. Yeah, because I don't trade anything under 10 million in daily volume. So, but since we have it up, and we're going to see this pattern in a lot of these coins because this is what Bitcoin did, but this is we've got this is a perfect example, not perfect example, but a pretty good example of a 1, 2, 3 dip. You got the squeeze and the bubble, red candle punching through here, another one, and this one here. Though these two, this one sort of just straddles the bottom of the Bollinger Band, and this one, it's got a little doji, I think these are called, sort of straddling it here. So with this, since I don't see strong punches through, I would probably go to a second or third indicator to confirm the move. Probably go down here to the MACD, make sure I get a MACD cross with the blue crossing the orange, and probably get in like right about here. And I probably would have handled this like my Matic trade. I would try to get up to this resistance here on leverage or on spot. I might try to get up to the SMA line, or look at, this set of candles here before the drop for about 4.78%. To be candid, I wouldn't have traded this. The volume, when you see the tiny sideways candles, that means there's not much happening on the coin. There's not much of a trading range, and I can't get enough of a profit. The risk reward just isn't there, so I probably wouldn't have messed with this one. But all right, Kava. I usually only trade those that are very bullish. I don't usually trade those that are just bullish. So let's look at another sort. If you were on my Zoom on Friday, we talked a little bit about the elder impulse and sorting by this. And we've got bullish here on TFUEL. So this one is interesting for this purpose. We've got fire on trading activity, a really nice range in the upper here. I usually like to see 5% or higher on this if I'm doing sorts other than the Altcoin Alert or the AA score. Got bullish on both the hourly and the daily on the elder impulse. very bullish long-term sentiment. It's already gone up, you know, almost 10%, not a huge number, but enough to show me that it's pumped, that it has potential. And the AA score is neutral, so I'm not concerned about that. So let's look at this one. Let's look at TFUEL. I think that's in my list. No, it's not. So this is interesting. It didn't have a significant reaction to the drop. I mean, it came down some, but it bounced back right away. Did go through a kind of a dip sequence here. 1, 2, didn't even get a third dip, and it bounced back to the SMA line. So that shows me this coin's pretty strong right now. Now maybe it's run out of steam. It bounced off the SMA line and down. Let's pan out a little bit. Yeah, the day chart's pumping up nicely. We're kind of it's recovered from the May dump entirely. It's already at its March high. So that's interesting.
Yeah, it is.
And yeah, the hour, you know, it was up to 53 cents, dropped down to 47, back up to 50. So this one's pretty strong at the moment. The question is, where do we get in if we like this coin? I think we do. Do we catch the trend or wait for the dip, or do both? It's hanging out at my least favorite place, the dreaded SMA line. Where is it going to go? If it makes a couple candles above the SMA line, I like it up to here, to this resistance. Yeah, quite a bit of resistance here, 5 to 6%. Or if you're want to take on some more risk, maybe you can catch this resistance here up around 9.5%. So that's one strategy I like to use with Altcoin Alert. I usually use it for trends more than dips. But you know, the overall market's been down today, so maybe I just hang around and wait for a dip, set an alert down where I think a third dip might hit around 44, 45 cents. Yeah.
I think people are starting to get prepped for mainnet 3 with TFUEL and THETA,
Okay.
which comes out at the end of the month. And so I think that's could be a good reason why it's been able to hold its own while everything else is going down.
I like it. That
What,
makes sense.
what happens at the end of the month?
THETA is going to release, it's called mainnet 3. So it's this huge upgrade, and you'll be able to stake TFUEL. So they got a lot of stuff happening. At the, I think it's June 30th is when it launches. And so I think people are starting to get prepped for that. And I've kind of noticed, like you were saying there, CJ, that well, a lot of the others are going down. Both THETA and TFUEL are holding their own. So
Yeah, and for those of you who don't know, most of you probably do, but THETA and THETA Fuel are obviously connected and correlated, so they tend to move up and down with each other. And what Darren's saying is we've got, you know, a significant upgrade coming up soon, and could be a you know, buy the rumor, sell the news kind of thing too, where you know, up until the actual event happens, the coin pumps, and then, you know, shortly before, shortly after, you know, the event happens and it drops. So that's the kind of thing you have to be aware of. But it's helpful to know those kind of things about the coins you trade. I tend to focus more on looking at the charts and then getting news secondarily, but it's helpful to have, you know, we've got this button here. It's not that great, unfortunately. And it'll give you headlines for TFUEL. And I don't know if that's going to be in here or not. A lot of times it's just, you know, some traders doing technical analysis, but sometimes it's real news, like Darren just said. So, and you know, all this is from the 7th. Sometimes you'll get stuff here 3 or 4 months old that's obviously irrelevant, but anyway, I don't see the that particular news item in today's news, but it's probably was released earlier and people know about it. And here's some of the things I was talking about. If TradingView doesn't have a specific news item for the coin, it'll just give general news. And so that's what we have here. Talks about Bitcoin being seized. There's multiple stories on that, and the El Salvador news too, which I think is more significant, but didn't move the meter as much, unfortunately. All right. So any other questions on TFUEL? All right. Okay, Kava came up by those. An elder impulse that's bearish in the hourly doesn't bother me so much. I'm more interested in the daily. Hourly, just like it sounds, is, well, that should give me a, yeah, that's what I'm looking for. Just what they're expected in the next hour. I'm not an hour trader, I'm a day trader, so I look at this one. And this gives me a 20 to 50 hour likelihood of, is it pumping up? So I lost my sort. So it's got Kava as bullish, and bullish here. Trading activities poop. That's not good. 2.45%. Yeah, I probably wouldn't consider this one. So even though I like this this project, but I'm even staking it. But yeah, I probably wouldn't look at that. Let's see if we have any others. The rest are neutral or bearish. So that's about all I have for the Elder Impulse sort. Let's do a trading activity sort, and we'll move on to iCoinPro. Metal's bearish. Very bearish. I'm not seeing one here. No, I don't really see one here that intrigues me. Well, NFT maybe. Bearish on the daily. That would rule that one out. So I think that's all we have for Altcoin Alert. Any other questions on this before we move over to iCoinPro? There's some interesting stuff happening on iCoinPro today. So yeah, I've got the RSI SPY up. I don't use this one as much as the Buddy Coin Crawler. We have some interesting situations going on here. If you can do a sort on iCoinPro on the RSI SPY and get values 30 and below, that's usually something you want to look at. If something's oversold on the hour, if you get values oversold on the hour and the 4 hour, again, something you definitely want to look at. And then if you go down here, we've even got the hour, the 4 hour, and the day below 30 on some of these coins. XVS is a coin I've traded recently, though the volume's kind of low right now. I think we're going to look at that one. Alien Worlds, Trust Wallet Token. There were a couple others of these when I was prepping for this that are gone now. So let's look at Venus and see if it's something we might want to get into. All right, let's look at the day chart first. All right, so big drop from its May 10th high. Lost 85% and has not come up at all since that time. So that's not good. And this is a newer, I don't know how new it is though. It's been on Binance since October. It's not brand new. Currently in a dip sequence. One, two, 1, 2, 3. So it did a 1, 2, 3 dip. It did bounce up some after that, about 2%, and it's going into another dip sequence. So, I mean, this is why we have ladder buying. Had we gotten into this, you know, this is similar to my Matic situation. And, but the overall picture that it hasn't made any move at all, you know, to recapture at least some of the profits lost, I probably would be concerned. I would look for other coins that I felt more confident about than this one. Or I would get in this and risk a small amount knowing I'm going to be in this for a while. So I'm not sure if that, you know, that's not really a day trade, but I would think of this as sort of a swing trade, maybe even do a lower buy order down here on the 3rd standard deviation on my Bollinger Band here. So, or set an alert, but this might be one where I set an alert on a high to say, all right, can this get above, you know, say this resistance here, and show me that it's coming back. So, but then again, probably wouldn't work that hard. I just look for another coin that has better evidence of recovery now. So, well, any questions on this before we look at some others? All right. So let's look at something a little better known. I mean, there's quite a few here. Stellar just dropped into this range. XLM, Quantum, Compound's really fallen off a cliff. OMG. Let's look at, let's look at Bitcoin Cash. This one's been around for a while, so. Day chart, had a huge run up, $1,600, dropped all the way down to, you know, 70%, down below 500, came back up to 780, then dropped again down to 570, 580. So it's a little better shape than XVS, what we just looked at, but still not doing great as far as a recovery. I mean, nowhere near THETA or TFUEL like we looked at earlier. Check out the hour. Yeah, I kind of got hammered by Bitcoin's drop. Obviously, Bitcoin Cash trades pretty kind of runs right alongside of Bitcoin. 5-minute chart, got 1, 2, 3. Looks like it's going into another dip sequence. I wouldn't get into this yet. I would either set an alert. Also, let's see, what's the RSI look like on the 15-minute chart? That's below 30 on this. Well, yeah, we know that from the RSI rider or SPY. Yeah, we're sort of in unknown territory now. What's Bitcoin doing now? And my habit is to look at Bitcoin, at least I don't always remember to do it, but I pretty consistently look at Bitcoin before I do any trade. And we got 3 downward candles on the 5-minute on Bitcoin. So I would probably hold off on doing any trading at all until Bitcoin had a better sense of Bitcoin's direction. So, all right, so that's what I have on the RSI SPY. I could go through some of these others, but they're going to look pretty much the same as the Bitcoin Cash we just looked at. Any questions on this? I want to look at BuddyCoin Crawler next. All right, we'll look at a couple of coins on BuddyCoin Crawler. You should see some big numbers. Yeah, some double digits here. I was looking at Digibyte earlier. Oh, I'm sorting this tool on the average low to the SMA line. The SMA line is that pink line between the Bollinger Bands, and the low is a 24-hour low. So I'm looking for 5% or higher, and that usually is indicative of a coin's ready to move or has been moving that day. When I get double digits, that's even better. So of course, double digits frequently happens when a coin gets beaten down, as some of them have by the Bitcoin drop. So big picture look. Yeah, Digibyte looks a lot like Bitcoin Cash. Had a big pump here in April. The dump down here, 68%. Back up here later in May, and then dropped again. We're down 65% from its high. On the hour chart, pretty much going down all day. So with the current state of Bitcoin, we're printing a green candle. Maybe it's coming back. I would probably wait for a few green candles on the 5-minute chart, or maybe a solid solid candle or 2 candles on the 15-minute before I got into anything at the moment. But again, DGB looks like some of the others we've seen. 1, 2, 3 dips, and then slight rise, and then going sideways and dipping. So that's about all I have for iCoinPro. Are there any specific coins you guys want to look at? Okay, any questions about iCoinPro and or Altcoin Alert? Guys are quiet tonight. All right, so we've been on about 40 minutes. I'll throw it open to any questions about crypto and trading, day trading, swing trading, whatever you guys are into, and see if we can help each other out.
I don't like these Bollinger Bands.
Okay.
These things are calculated using a 50-day average, right?
Well, you can
And all
change that, but yeah.
Yeah, all the traders, you take a class, they say, oh, look at the Bollinger Bands and be sure to set it to 50. So everybody's doing that. And if I go back and look at what happened at Bitcoin 50 days ago, April 20th, you get the same pattern. It's crashing. So I like the news items much better than what the Bollinger Bands say. I think we're getting stuck in too much technical analysis, which makes the buying and selling go way up and down too fast. It's mathematics. It's not real. So I like what you said one time, where we should deal with coins that have value, like THETA, TFUEL, Ethereum.
Yeah, there are a lot of issues that you just raised in that statement. I'm going through a program now where two of the traders I've been watching a lot, neither of them use Bollinger Bands. One uses well, I've talked before about the Crypto Banter show, Sheldon the Sniper on there. He likes these trend lines. That's what he uses. What you're seeing now, some of these values are Fibonacci, retracement values. So, which is, advanced technical analysis. And what Patrick's saying is maybe none of this is necessary. We should just chill on the news and hear what happens and function accordingly. I think we can do both. For one, I mean, there's been more news lately because I think, for a lot of reasons, crypto is more popular. There are a lot of, whales are using FUD to manipulate the market, things like that. So, I think we can use technical analysis and the news. They're not mutually exclusive, but yeah, if you want to, some traders don't do any of this. They just wait to hear something that's in the favor, either up or down, and trading accordingly. And it's just how I wasn't taught that way. So that's hard for me to do. But I do move on news items. I mean, I've talked before about the Altcoin Alert, significant developments, how I traded some of those, and Had a video on one of them last week, and you know, I made when the Bitcoin news, when I heard about that today, I did a couple short positions that worked out. So, you know, that's there's nothing wrong with trading the news. And then regarding the Bollinger Band settings, you know, these are mine because, you know, I was taught this in iCoinPro, you know, to use the 50 because that's a more conservative value, but the default is 20. So if you want to put them on 20, there's nothing wrong with doing that. It's just, I think 50 is more conducive to day trading, but it's more of a conservative approach. Okay, any other questions on technical analysis, Bollinger Bands, anything like that? All right then, well, I'm gonna go ahead and stop the recording right about here.